everybody to the greatest show where I get to show up the greatest people and have way too much fun doing it. Today, my special guest is Amy Shine. Welcome, Amy.
Thanks, Cassy. That was such an amazing introduction. The fireworks and the music. I felt like I was famous.
Because you are.
It was brilliant.
Thank you. And you are so brilliant and so wonderful. And that's why I have you on the show today. So our topic is we're going to be talking about nature spirits, dancing with fairies. We're going to be talking about bodies. We're going to be talking about all these kinds of wonderful things. And it's going to be a really different show because often I start the show out with some kind of overview of this is what we're going to talk about. And this is kind of how things are. But Amy, I got to say, when I read, because you sent in a blurb, you sent in this beautiful blurb, and I'm going to actually read that to launch us off because I'm like, I can't say anything better than this.
Don't even know what I sent in.
Well, you're gonna be facilitated by yourself right now. So these are the words of Amy Shine. There's a greatness to embodiment. And until we access that greatness, we miss the joy that is possible here. To access all the magic available here, including the nature spirits and the world of spirits, requires you first to embody and access the joy of the body.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
It's true though.
Yeah. So can we just starting there?
Yeah.
What more can you share? What more can you?
Oh, wow. There's so much in that. But the first piece is the body, because it's like, it's interesting to watch people, like lots of people, like especially metaphysical and spiritual people are like, they want to transcend, or they want to, they want to talk to their spirit guides, and they want to talk to their angels. And it's so interesting to watch that, because it's like you have these, like, it's like you've put these like higher beings outside of yourself, and you're constantly like trying to get somewhere. But yet our bodies come from the earth. And when we die, like when we leave our body will go back to the earth. And the nature spirits are part of the earth's energy. Like we're part of the earth's energy. So until we like actually get in our bodies and not just get in our body, but like embody, like the greatness of embody and get the joy of embodiment, we don't really get access to the world of the nature spirits. It's always something that we're kind of looking outside of ourselves for.
Yeah. Okay. That's so beautiful. So often, we're going out here, and you're saying it's actually the opposite. So would you have that joy of embodiment? So for some people, they maybe have never really experienced the joy of embodiment. So where can they start?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, well, I can just share like what it was for me. And it's going to be different for all of you. So I think the question is like, asking your body to show you, like, hey body, like what does bring us joy, like show me what can we choose today that would allow us to embody more joy right away. And I think for me, like I grew up in Ireland, and Ireland's beautiful, but it's also like depressing. There's a lot of sadness there. There's a lot of people with suppressed anger, and and as like an aware being growing up in the world, you're aware of it all. And so for me, like before I found access, movement and dance was a way that I kind of like was like my therapy. And that was the beginning of me finding the joy of body. Like I found the joy of body through movement first. So I had it with the movement, but then like when I wasn't dancing and playing music, I didn't have it. So it was like, it had to start somewhere. So I think my question for anyone listening, if you're like, I don't even enjoy my body, I have no joy with body, like maybe just start asking, like, what's the one thing you could choose today that would start opening that up? Because it's not like one day I started dancing and I was like, yay, like it wasn't. It was like, it was an ongoing journey for me. But I noticed that when I would have loads of crazy shit going on in my head, I'd feel depressed or sad or whatever it is, I would find music, because music really soothes me, like it soothes my being. And I would find music that kind of helped me move these energies. Like people say, you know, music like to move your emotions, but for me it's like more like moving energy. It's like, okay, like whether like, you know, like I had like my brother died when he was 21, so there was like a lot of grief in our family and this kind of sadness. So I would like put on music that kind of like brought up that sadness and then move with it. But
Wow.
eventually I would transform these kind of feelings, like these dense energies, eventually they would transform into lightness. And then, and I started to notice when I started to get a bit lighter and more get out of my head and into my body and just kind of let go, that's when like the earth and all the nature spirits, I didn't know they were nature spirits. Like I wasn't like dancing being like, oh, here are the nature spirits. Like it was just like, it was more like after a while of moving my body, like I would go out on my golf course. My parents live right next to a golf course in Ireland, and in the evening all the golfers would be gone, so I would go out and I would put on my music and I would look out across the whole green and I would just dance on the green. And after a while I would start like getting out of my head, more into my body. And I wasn't like, you know, like it, like I said, it didn't start that way. It might have started with me being kind of melancholic and depressed and whatever, and moving with that energy. And then bit by bit, the energies transformed. And I noticed when I started to access more of the joy, like that's when like that bubbly, like, ooh, what's possible, like came in, and I started to get more like inspired. And that's when I started to notice like, oh, that more is possible here.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I would love to. You said something about being in your head, like you got out of being in your head. And I do notice as I talk with people about nature spirits or other possibilities, they try to access it through their head. Yeah. And what you're inviting is something really different, is to access it through the joy of embodiment.
Yeah,
So
that's interesting. I look at that a lot, and I think a lot of people try to access everything through their head. You know, you know yourself from facilitating and being on calls, and it's interesting because it's like actually all of the magic, all of the miracles, all of the possibilities exist beyond the mind, beyond the control. But yet we still think we need to figure it out. Like,
yeah.
but then there's that piece too. Like, you also have to embody to access it. Because it's like you're trying to access the nature spirits by getting out of your body, but the nature spirits are part of the earth's energy, and so is your body. So actually, if you weren't in your body, could you even access the nature spirits? I actually never asked that question before.
Yeah. Well, I'm not, wow. So beautifully matching kind of this conundrum that I see with people. They want this, you know, they want to access magic, they want to access the nature spirits, and they're going to do it through their mind. And we see that in movies sometimes, right? Like I'm like using my mind to move things.
Yeah. The movies haven't really quite got the joy of embodiment yet.
No. But I love this it's almost this missing element, Amy, that you're bringing up is, so joy of embodiment actually also connects you to the earth. Yes.
Yeah.
Which connects you to other beings that are of and with the earth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, do you ever, like, you all probably, like, everyone here listening, like at some stage in your life, you've had moments where you have been like, whether it's walking the beach, in the ocean, you know, like, I don't know, like skinny dipping, snorkeling, diving in the ocean, like, I mean, up on top of a mountain, dancing, whatever it is, those moments where your mind is totally gone, like switched off, and you are totally in like with your body, like embodied, like having that like whoa, like, or even like go for a shower, you know, when the water hits your skin, you're like, oh, like those moments, like even if it's like for 10 seconds, like they're those moments where you do access the joy of body. But like how much we've defined like the nature spirits, like go out in water, get into the ocean. The water spirits are there. You just can't see them with your physical sight. Physical sight is very limited. We're trying to like see everything because if we can see it, it must be real, right?
And is that part of the mind as well? If we can see it, then our mind can access it, so then we can believe it's
understand
true.
it
And understand it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Uh-huh. So what do you recall, like, when did you really start to acknowledge your engagement and interaction with nature spirits?
Probably not until I started really taking talk to the entity classes. And immersing myself in the talk to the entity material, like the 2.5 day beginning class, and I didn't right away. Like I always knew I accessed something in the movement, like, but I didn't put words to it. You know, I always knew that when I got to a place in the movement where I could let go of control, right? Let your mind go, even just a bit. Yeah. Like totally let go of like the form and structure, because that's another thing. It's not like movement that has a form and structure to it. It's like really just letting your mind go. And Shannon O'Hara wrote a book called Beings of Light, and she actually talks to this energy in the book. She talked about a documentary called, I think it's called Riva or Riza or something, or Riva, and she talked about the people in this documentary. Some of them were in LA, and they were kind of very much like doing this tribal embodiment dance where they actually totally let go of control. Most of us don't want to let go of control at all, but the movement was one of those places where I was like, oh, I can let go of some control here. Just a little bit. And when I did, that's when I started to notice like memories of past lifetimes would come in, or like all of a sudden my brother would be there, you know. And I would probably say my brother, like leaving his body when he was 21, was like, that was really opening up for me of like communicating with the spirit world. Like he was my number one, like probably like most tangible thing I had to the spirit world. And so he would come in during the movement. And the more and more I acknowledged, like it wasn't my mind, like I'm not crazy, like he's really here, and just like dance with him. Like it was like that. It was like his energy come in and I'd move with him and I'd dance, and then it would move on, and then something else would come in. And so I think in the movement, that's when I started to notice like the different energies. It wasn't until talk to the entities and I started taking more classes that I started acknowledging the nature spirits more. And the more I started to acknowledge them, and then that's when I could look back and go, oh, I was dancing with the nature spirits all those years ago in Ireland on the golf course.
Yeah.
So my question for all of you listening is, how much are you already communicating and communing and being with the nature spirits that you might just not never have acknowledged because it doesn't have a solid like definition to it, or it doesn't look like what you think it should look like?
Yeah. And what we know working with Access is being willing to go and acknowledge those places will allow it to grow and allow you to have more of it. Yeah.
Yeah, so, that's massive. I also have to say another thing I started doing is I started buying books. So I got like this history, myths, and mythology of fairies, because I actually have been doing angel cards since I was like 16, ever before I did Access. I was like, that was my like, you know, opening up into the world of something else was angel cards. So I started looking into I just wanted to like do research, you know. And then also with the Access tools is that you can read these books and look at like what's true, makes you feel lighter, and what's a heavy, it's a lie. Because some of them are like based more like they're myths, right? So but I wanted to tap into more like what's the history, what's the mythology behind it, like where have these stories come from. So I did a lot of like on fairies, on leprechauns. Oh, that's another thing. Dane and Gary used to call me a leprechaun all the time in class, and it used to annoy the hell. Like I used to get so irritated by it. I'm like, why? I'm not a leprechaun. Why are they calling me a leprechaun? And, you know, we have an Access this thing, like if you resist it, there's something there for you. So one day I was like, what am I resisting here, you know? And so I was like, let me do some research on leprechauns. And I think that's when I started getting more into it then as well.
Oh, that's so cool. And and actually love what you invited people to use the light and heavy, because I myself have I would get angry. Like I would read books about fairies and I'd be like, this isn't true. And I'm like, why am I angry? Like, what do I like? Almost not like, what do I know? But I was like, I'm not an authority. I don't come from Ireland. Like, I can't talk about fairies.
There's fairies everywhere. You don't have to be from Ireland.
Another myth.
Yes.
Yeah. But actually, when I started to ask that question, what do I know that I've never learned in a book? Then I started to have that peace, and I was accessing more of what I know about these nature spirits, these magical creatures.
I love that you asked that, because how much do we actually make the books a source, or the guru or the angel cards or whatever? Because that's what I did for years. Like, the angel cards were my source, and that's why I'm so grateful, like, for Talk to the Entities and the Access tools, because Shannon is constantly, which is the founder of Access, asking us to destroy, like, and uncreate the definitions we have, so that if you don't, because if you like that's another thing. Like, I want to talk about fairies for a second. Like, fairies have been portrayed as these, little cute girls who fly around at night with these little cute dresses, and like, that's what Disney has sold us and all the movies and stuff. But that's like, oh, that was a piece that anything that doesn't match mankind hunts out of existence. So what mankind has done is it's humanized anything that is, like, say, fairies. Like, they've humanized it. So they've made them look like females with wings and pretty dresses. Or mermaids. They make mermaids look like, sensual, women with beautiful jewels or whatever. And it puts an image on them. So then you can't receive beyond that, because you've decided, like, this is this solid thing. So if you're like, oh, what would it take to engage with the fairies? But you've decided a fairy looks like a little cute girl with a dress and wings, you can't really engage with the fairy, because you're waiting for this image to show up that isn't even real.
Yes. And that's part of where the mind gets in the way, because we've learned with our mind, oh, this is the image. So you're seeking out that image and missing what's all around you. Yeah. Okay.
I love that. So missing what's all around you. That's massive. You're missing what's all around you. And we talked to Cassy, like, the whispers of consciousness. Like, that's actually how I perceive the light beings of consciousness, the nature spirits. It's more like a whisper. Like, it's just like that, like little tickle on your face, and one of the places I perceive them a lot is when I run bars. Because what happens when you run bars, access bars, light touch therapy, different points on your head. If you haven't tried it, like, it's incredible. Yeah. So when I run someone's bars, I'm melting. The bars is melting their mind, and my mind is also being melted. And then I notice, oh, all these energies start to come in and be like, hi, because we're going beyond the mind. And that was the thing with the movement. When I got to letting go of control with the movement, that's when I started to, like, oh, the energies were coming, because it's like, but it's subtle. It's very, like, but that's because I've quietened the mind. You can't hear those subtle whispers when you're in your head.
Yeah. Okay. So so we have the bars. What are some other things people can choose that would kind of silence that mind, allow them to get a greater sense of joy, of embodiment, connection with the earth, and all of that?
That's funny. Oh my God, so many things. Like, but you got to look at, like, what nurtures your body and your being, and are you choosing it every day? Because it's not just like one time you go dance or one time you go out in nature. Like, are you actually nurturing your body and being every day? And the more you nurture your body and being, the more you have access to this world of magic and miracles. I do a list. So this is a little home play you could do. Get a journal and write down all the things that nurture your body and being, big and small. It could be like going for a bath with Epsom salts, going for a walk in nature, like calling a friend, getting your bars run, getting body work, swimming, like whatever it is, yoga, dance, and even like having a cup of tea, reading a book, like, and every day, like, choose like at least 3-4 things from that list.
3 or 4.
Yeah, I would
love
say
that.
5 actually, or more.
I love that because most people would be like, maybe I'll choose 1. But
No, it's a long day, Cassy. We deal with a lot of insanity in this world.
yeah. So actually, could you speak to what can, talking about dealing with the insanity and nurturing your body and then accessing nature spirits, these seem very conflictual. They seem like, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where you have to choose beyond the insanity. Like, do you want to, and this is actually funny. Thanks for bringing this up. Like, one of the things I've spoken a lot in my classes about is like, hey, you know what? You can feed the insanity. Like, you can keep like adding energy to the insanity. Like when COVID came out, I was like, oh, whatever. This is ridiculous. Okay, let me just like turn up my, like literally I was like, okay, what can I do right now? Turn up my magic. Okay, I can like wallow in this like crap and I will die in it. Like, I know I will, like I will destroy myself in seconds. Or I can turn up my magic and do what I do. And I actually, that's when I went more online with my dance and my movement, and I really turned it up. And people were joining from all over the world because they were like, oh my God, thank you. Like they're like being in shutdown and lockdown. And then I'm like, come dance with the fairies. Like, like, I mean, like, and that was my kind of ask, was like, okay, so we can feed the insanity and we can, buy into all the controls and the government and the blah, 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 and keep like, we can keep giving energy to that, or we can power the earth and the earth. And that's Gary said that, Gary Douglas, he said, he said the government have an agenda. There's lots of agendas. He says, but the earth has an agenda. And you can power the government's agenda, or you can power the earth's agenda. And that like stuck with me. And I'm like, I'm powering the earth's agenda. And part of the earth are the nature spirits. And so my I guess into like, how do you apply this to your own daily life is like, you have a choice. You can go into the insanity. You can, have all the conversations about COVID. You can fight with people about politics, whatever it is. Or you can choose to power what lights you up. So like, walk away from conversations, go out, be willing to be by yourself, be willing to play, be willing to go to the beach. Like I just spent an hour or 2 hours at the beach by myself today. I had so much fun,
Yeah.
So it's like, where are we waiting for everyone else to choose magic and waiting for the world to choose it rather than you choosing it? You might be the only one.
I love that. And and even just, I mean, you said being on the beach by yourself, and then right away I could tap into all of the nature spirits that were with you and the water spirit, like all of that. And something that Gary has said a lot is if we are willing to engage with magic, if we're willing to engage with those nature spirits, then what you just said, you're empowering. Like, to empower the earth is to engage with it. And so what, wow. So as we're looking at this joy of embodiment and this being that joy of embodiment, how that connects with the earth and that connects with the nature spirits, and then you're engaging from there, then what is possible with where the insanity of the world really doesn't affect you?
That's the thing. It actually doesn't. It doesn't affect you. And so one piece that to add to that was brilliant was that the way they used to say, like, or they say, oh, she's away with the fairies.
I've never heard that. I like that.
You didn't? Oh my God, that's a big thing in Ireland. Like, it means you're crazy. They'd say, they'd say, never mind her. She's away with the fairies. That one. That's what they say in Ireland. And it was a real, like, it was a judgment, it was like the judgment was, she's like, oh, she's cuckoo, she's crazy, she's off with the fairies, like, she don't listen to her, like, she's off in her own world, which she's off in her own world. So like, what if that is actually a gift, to be away with the fairies? Like, would you like to live in a world with the fairies, or do you want to live in this? What world do you want to live in? Like, do you want to live in a world of control and judgment and, you know, insanity? Or would you like to live in the world with the fairies? And the fairies live in a world of ease, joy, and glory, and gratitude. So when you're living and being ease, joy, and glory, you are engaging with the earth. You are engaging with the nature spirits, even if you don't think you are. Yeah. And so that's the world I want to live in, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I'm away with the fairies.
Me too. I'm like, I think I'm away with the fairies.
Yes, you're really away with the fairies, Cassy. If we went to Ireland, they'd be like, oh my God, those two girls, Cassy and Amy, they're away with the fairies.
We'd be like, thank you.
Thank you. Who else wants to come join us? So, do you want to live in a world where you're away with the fairies?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I know we're getting to the end of the time. Could you speak a little bit? You said you brought up the gratitude, that the fairies live in gratitude. Is there anything more you could say about that with either bodies or?
I guess because, like, if you're in gratitude, judgment doesn't exist. So you can't be grateful and judge at the same time.
Yeah.
So if you're not in gratitude, you're in judgment.
So that can play with joy. So can you have joy of embodiment if you're judging it?
No.
Or how much gratitude is actually involved in that?
Yeah. Yeah. So anywhere you're judging your body, you actually don't have gratitude. And that's where you cut off. That's where you actually cut off your communion with the earth. Because the earth actually doesn't judge.
Yeah.
Judgment is a program that we're programmed into. It's not even real. It's not true. So how much when you go to judgment of you or your body, how much does that cut off how much does that separate you from the earth? Remember, when you separate from the earth, you also separate from the spirits of the earth. Yeah. And then when you separate from that, then you also separate from you. You can't have gratitude in any of that. The earth's always grateful, even now, and we're like, even with everything that we've done to it, or, all the insanity going on, the earth doesn't have a point of view about it. Neither do the nature spirits.
Wow.
And I really love that piece too, you said too, about acknowledging them. Because like that has been just growing that awareness, like, okay, like what would it be like to live in a world where all beings were included?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be so much more fun? Like, this thing of we all walk around looking the same with the same type of bodies and stuff.
Yeah.
It's like so boring.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Thank you so much, Amy. I'm so grateful for this conversation. I just want to take a moment and direct people. If you guys would like more with Amy, Amy does a ton of online classes. She does live classes. She's an Access Conscious Certified Facilitator, 3-day body facilitator, so many things. And so please, we have a lot of links that you can follow to engage with her more, to receive more from her. So if you're drawn to this is just the tip of what Amy has possible to share with you and to explore with you. So please check her out. We are going to end the show with a game, but before we do, is there anything
yes,
else?
The game.
Is there anything else you wanted to say?
I'm nervous about the game.
No, it's going to be fun.
I'm really bad at things like this. So, Pata.
You'll be great.
Okay, we'll see. I'm really bad at trivia and stuff, but anyway.
No, you're awesome. Okay, so the game is...
do I need to get my phone for this?
I think you do.
Or is it on WhatsApp?
It'll be on WhatsApp.
Okay, I can open up WhatsApp.
Find it. Yeah. Our producer's in the background assisting.
Okay.
So the title of the game, this game is called Silent Charades. So here's how the game works. We each take a turn silently acting out either a person, a place, an action, or an object. Well, the other person gets to guess. We have a 1-minute timer, which just makes things fast and more fun. And we each get to go twice. So Amy, because you're the guest, you get to act out first. So you have your list. I don't know what your list is. I have my own list. So you get to pick, which is nice. And then when you're ready, I'll put on a timer, and my job is to guess the person, the place, or the
Okay.
yeah. Okay, do you have one?
Okay, I have one.
Okay, getting my timer ready. Go. Energy? Fairies?
That was it. Yeah.
That was like my first thought. I'm like, it couldn't be that easy.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. We didn't even like half the time. See, you're better than you knew. You're so good. Okay. All right. My turn. Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to start with what I think is easy. All right. Here's my timer. Okay.
Okay. Wizard. Wand.
Yes!
Oh, wand was going to be my first one too, and then I went for wizard.
We're rocking this.
That was really good. I like that you picked magical things, that makes it easier for me. Like, but if you did like trivia right now, I'd be like, oh my God, shoot me.
No, our producer took care of us really good. Okay, choose another one from your category.
Okay.
Last one.
Okay. Okay. All right.
You got it?
You ready?
Okay.
All right.
Timer. Yeah. Flying. Ocean. Mermaid.
I don't know what else to do. I'm like,
I don't know, but I like your singing.
I'm giving you a clue with the singing.
Okay. Magic carpet.
Yes.
Like I know that song.
Yeah.
Good job.
Leonie was guessing mermaid too and wave.
Yeah. I think there's some mermaid energy going on here. That's awesome. Okay. Okay.
I was humming Aladdin, Maureen. Magic carpet is Aladdin.
Yes. that did help me. I don't know if I would have gotten it.
I know. I was like, I'm going to be here forever.
My arm would get tired. Okay. Okay, I know the one I want to do is going to be hard, but the one or I could just choose an easy one. That's my conundrum right now in this moment.
I'm
going for
do the one you want to do.
I'm going to do the one I want to do. Okay. To get my timer. All right.
Okay. Angel? Oh, dragon.
Yes!
That was easy.
That was easy. I thought it was going to be hard.
No, that was really easy. That was brilliant. I love dragons. Oh.
Me too.
Where's my dragon?
Yeah. Well, thank you, Amy. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful. This was a beautiful conversation.
Yeah, this really was. So much magic. Yeah. Thank you for all you're doing in the world and putting magic out there. And I love seeing your photos on Instagram and what you create with the As If by Magic classes and all of it. I think you're amazing.
Thank you so much. I think you're amazing too. And same. I love what I see you creating. So thank you for being in the world.
Bye, everyone.
Yeah. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next week.